Hello, everybody, and welcome to our second installment on the rise of Islam. Today, we're going to talk about a few things. I'm going to mention a few here, and then I'll mention more in the second part here. So, we're going to talk about the Quran, the Hadith, the Sunnah, the five pillars of Islam, infidels and apostasy, and the lunar calendar. Before I begin, I just want to thank everyone for giving me the feedback for the quick write today, and I really appreciate you speaking up, and I really want to try and polish this up and make it good and effective for everybody. So let's talk about the Quran. There we go. All right. So the Quran is it's also spelled with a K, so Quran or Quran is the primary text of Islam. Okay, primary meaning that it is the main text. It's kind of like the Bible to Christians. Quran can be translated to mean recite, and one of the reasons why is because people in the older years of Islam, the earlier years of Islam, I should say, they would memorize the Quran, and they would recite the whole thing from front to back. And that was also a sign of devotion back then. I don't think too many people do that today. The Quran represents 23 years of Muhammad's visions, and the Quran is made up of 114 chapters called surahs. So we have here also, so we have the Quran, which is the primary text. Then we have secondary texts, which are called the Hadith. And the Hadith is a collection of what Muhammad said. So this is also known as the oral tradition of Islam. Now, the Hadith is written after the Islamic civil wars, and we're going to have to get into that in a later lesson, but let me just give you a summary here. So you have the Sunni and you have the Shia. And these are the two major factions of Islam, and they don't like each other. They don't agree uh, with each other on who ultimately should have taken the leadership role after Muhammad's death, and so there was two factions that began. Well, not only do they not like each other too much, but also here we have that they also don't even have the same hadith. So the Sunni have a different set of what they believe, what they heard Muhammad say here, and then the Shia have a whole different set of writings, what they say they heard Muhammad say. So uh, they don't agree on many things, including the hadith. Now, Sunnah are rules and values of Muslim social life. The word Sunnah means a well treated pathway. And treated pathway? Yeah. The five pillars of Islam are part of the Sunnah. Now, for those of you who are listening right now, you're going to want to commit these to memory. You're going to want to write these down because I guarantee you this will be on the test. This is a huge part of what Islam is. It's called the five pillars. It's basically the five most important things to being a good Muslim. Okay, let's start with the first. The first is the testimony of faith, a spoken declaration that, so people who are Muslim or want to be Muslim, who want to convert, anything like that, they need to confess or declare there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his prophet. The second is praying 5 times a day, and many committed and what's where I'm looking for, devoted Muslims do that today, and it's towards Mecca, which is would be towards the east, I believe, in our area. The third is giving to the poor. And so they also have a strong thing about, we need to help out our poor people, and as followers of Islam, we need to be charitable. The fourth is fasting during Ramadan. And this fasting, I think I alluded to it a little bit in one of my classes, not sure if I did in all the classes. The Ramadan, it happens depending on the year of the calendar. It can happen in the dead heat of August, which I think it did about 3 4 years ago. And I had some friends who were Muslim, and we were at a party for school, and they couldn't eat. They didn't eat anything. In fact, when we went to go eat our lunch, they went into the other room and observed in their own way, but they did not eat or drink, and they do not eat or drink for, I believe it's 30 days, and when the sun is up. When the sun's down, they can eat, they can drink, but when the sun's up, absolutely not. And then the fifth one is the pilgrimage to Mecca. And this was something that was required of early Muslims, and now that Islam is kind of spread all over the world, it's kind of believed and understood that if you have the means to make a pilgrimage to Mecca these days, then you should do it. But if you don't, then don't worry about it. You know that you're not obligated to go if you don't have the means to do it. Okay. Also, we're talking about infidels and apostasy. So, Christians and Jews, like Muslims themselves, are known to Islam as people of the book. Christians and Jews, they believe in the Bible. They also believe in prophets like Abraham and Moses, and the Muslims also do as well. So, there's a commonality, and Muhammad was quick to understand that these are also people of the book. Now, Muhammad believes that somehow during the way the Jews apostatized and during the way the Christians apostatized, and Muhammad was necessary to show everybody the way back again. Okay, but Muhammad does recognize Jews and Christians as people of the book, people that have a religious tradition in common with Islam. They also are considered infidels, meaning unbelievers. And I want to make this clear. Infidels, when we hear it today, it has a really mean connotation. It's kind of like saying you're a Neanderthal or something, and you're kind of unevolved or unsuited to be a human being. That's not what it originally meant. It meant that you were simply not a Muslim. You didn't believe in Islam. So Muslims are committed to Islam for life. Apostasy, meaning the rejection of one's own religion, is considered a capital crime and is punishable by death. Excuse me, but according to Sharia law, which is a law that I don't know if it's always followed in Islam, but it's supposed to be followed. Is that if somebody apostatizes, meaning they turn away from Allah and they join another religion or something, then the crime of death would be suitable. And I want you guys to just pause this right now and just take time to read this down here. Okay, so you can kind of get an idea. This is a verdict of apostasy, which was written in 1978, just to get an idea of what Sharia law is according to the verdict of apostasy. And we'll move on. Okay, so the lunar calendar. So the Islamic calendar is a lunar calendar with 12 months in the year and about 354 days. It is used to mark religious holidays. A lunar year based on the moon is about 11 days shorter than a solar year, which is based on the sun. So they follow a very similar calendar to what we follow, which would be a solar calendar. It's just short about 11 days is all. So ours is 365, theirs is 354. All right, so now we're moving on to the next part. We're going to talk about Abu Bakr, Islam splits, the Rida Wars, the expansion of Islam, and Abu Bakr's death. Okay, so Abu Bakr, before he died, Muhammad did not appoint a successor, and this has really caused a schism or separation in Islam. Because Muhammad didn't appoint a successor, then there was a split, and there were two groups of people that believed this person should be the successor over the other. So, a successor of Muhammad in Islam is called a caliph. Abu Bakr, one of Muhammad's first converts, was chosen to be caliph in 332 CE. Not everyone agreed with Abu Bakr's appointment as caliph. Some believe that the caliph should be a relative of Muhammad. Islam splits into two rival groups over the issue of succession. The groups would become known as Shias, or Shiites, and Sunnis. Shias believe that Muhammad's cousin and son-in-law, Ali ibn Abu Talib was the true successor. So you have Abu Bakr, and people say, nope, he was the first convert to Islam, so he should be the successor. And then some people said, no, 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 it should be stay in the family. If Muhammad had someone in his family and he had a cousin and a son-in-law named Abu Talib, then it should go through him and we should keep it in Muhammad's family. And so there's a great division in Islam at this point, and the division is very prominent today. We have Shiites and we have Sunnis, and they still are very disagreed on this issue. So we have something called the Rita Wars, or also known as I remember, the Wars of Apostasy. Anyway, some Arab tribes revolted against Abu Bakr. They didn't agree with him. Many Bedouin Arabs returned to their old religion. Now, Bedouin was simply people who lived, was a name for people who lived in the Arabian Peninsula. So they just started returning to the old religion. They didn't like Abu Bakr, and they didn't think he should be the successor. And so they started turning to the pagan gods. Now, Abu Bakr fought against these rebellions. He did not think that they should be turning away from Islam. So these are known as the Rita Wars. Abu Bakr forced the rebels to submit to Islamic rule. And I want to make this clear here. So we have Muhammad who believed that people need to choose. They need to submit their will to Allah. And by doing that, it had to be a choice. And now we have Abu Bakr who is actually forcing people to convert to Islam. So there's a little bit of a difference between Abu Bakr and what the Prophet Muhammad had in mind according to seeing their actions in history. So we have an expansion here, and we're going to take a little time just to show you. So this area here, okay, this is Muhammad. This is what Muhammad conquered. And then Abu Bakr came in and he conquered all this lighter yellow stuff. Okay? And then after that, we have Umar. And Umar was a caliph that succeeded Abu Bakr, and he conquers a lot of Egypt and even a little bit into Mesopotamia. So Umar does a lot of expanding, and then we have Uthman, and Uthman comes a little bit over here and gets a little more of the east in the Persia area. So we have four caliphs starting with Muhammad, and you can kind of see how much they conquer in all this time. And as you can see, there's these areas that have stripes. Those represent the areas that were contested, meaning that the Byzantine Empire and now the nation of Islam, the kingdom of Islam, is fighting. So as you can see, in the end, after Uthman, the Sasanians or the Persians, they're not even really around as an empire anymore. And the Byzantine Empire is, again, dramatically reduced, to say the least. Now, the Muslims continued attacking their neighbors. The Muslims' army was led by General Khalid ibn Walid. The Muslims conquered Iraq and Syria. They reached the boundaries of the Byzantine and Persian or the Sassanid empires. And here we have, down here, we have a mural of Abu Bakr and Muhammad. And as you can see here, they even tried to scratch out Muhammad's face so as to not make him look like an icon or some kind of an image, because again, they're against it. All right, so we have, here's the Byzantine Empire before Islam came, and now they've lost pretty much all of northern Africa and Egypt and Palestine area. And of course, the Sasanians or the Sassanid Empire, they're done for. They're finished. So Abu Bakr's death. Abu Bakr died in 634 CE. Before he died, he nominated Umar ibn al-Khattab, his chief advisor, as his successor. Now, Umar is the one who's going to do a lot of expansion. He's going to take Islam to the next level after Bakr. Shia Muslim factions continue to support Abu Talib. So again, we have the Shia and the Sunni, and they don't agree with each other. And we have we have the Sunni who are doing most of the expansion at this point. And then Abu Bakr is buried in Masjid al-Nabawi Mosque in Medina alongside Muhammad. And I'm sure some of my experts in my classes will probably tell me I hashed that pretty bad. But that's it for today. Uh, just know that Islam is definitely on the rise, as we can see. They're now taking out the Persian Empire, and they're coming after the Byzantine Empire. They won't take them out completely, but they will dramatically hurt them. And the big question is to in Islam right now is who really should be the successor, and it's never going to be determined. Even to this day, there's still going to be people who disagree. So that's it for me. Everyone have a good night. Bye bye.